In the last movie, I showed you how you could rotate an object by changing the value up in the control panel. To recap, I'll zoom in here to 200% by pressing Command 2 or Control 2 on Windows, and then I'm going to change the rotate value, this widget up in the control panel, to whatever value I want. Let's say about 30 degrees. Now that rotated it, but where did it rotate from? That is, what point on this image stayed stationary? That's determined by the reference point, which is this set of nodes, this icon up in the left edge of the control panel. Right now, the center point is highlighted. It's black, and that means the center point is going to stay stationary and everything's going to rotate around it. However, if I want the lower left corner to stay stationary and have everything rotate around that, it's easy to do by clicking on that point, that highlights it, and then I'll change this back to some other value. Let's say 10 degrees. See that? The lower left corner stayed stationary and everything rotated around it. Let's take a look at a couple other options up here in the control panel. First of all, there's a little P here. What's that doing here? Well, that is a little indicator that tells me that there has been some transformation made on this object. It's slightly angled, which tells me that there is a little bit of rotation here. If I wanted to remove all the rotation, I could right-click on it or control-click with a one-button mouse and choose Clear Transformation from the context menu. That removes all transformations on that object, including rotation. To the left of this P, there are two buttons here that let you rotate an object clockwise or counterclockwise. In this case, I want to make sure that I am rotating from the center point, so I'll change that, and then I'll show you. There's 90 degrees clockwise, and there's 90 degrees counterclockwise, bringing it back to where it was. Now, those controls are all very well and good if you like working numerically, but some people like rotating things interactively, by eye, getting it to look just right. InDesign lets you do that too. To rotate this image interactively, I'm going to select it with the selection tool, that's a black arrow tool, and I'm going to place my cursor just outside one of the corners. When I do that, it changes to a double arrow cursor, indicating that when I click and drag, it's going to rotate. So I click and drag down, and notice that as I drag, there's a little label next to the cursor telling me exactly what angle I'm rotating to. There's 21.5 degrees, let go, and it rotates the image. I also want to point out that you can rotate an image inside of a frame separately from the frame itself. I'll select that image by clicking on the content grabber, and then I'll move my cursor just outside the corner of the bounding box of the image and rotate that. I can rotate that right around in the opposite direction. So whether you prefer working by numbers or interactively by eye, InDesign lets you rotate any object on your spread quickly and precisely.